ABC News.
Well, Paul Horvath is a sports solicitor at the law firm Sports Lawyer. He's also the chairman of the Sports Law Committee of the Law Institute of Victoria, and he joins me now from Melbourne. Paul Horvath, this is not the first time that allegations have surrounded Lance Armstrong. Are you surprised that the USDA is, though, still pursuing him?
Look, Kim, it seems to me that certainly Lance Armstrong is a big name. From what I've read, it seems that a number of witnesses have come forward, and I'd say that it's important for viewers to understand that it's speculation as to the 4 or 5 people that have been named in the Dutch newspaper as giving evidence against Mr Armstrong is pure speculation. So we think it might be George Hincapie, who's on Cadell Evans's team, and a few other named people, but we don't know for sure. It would, if what is rumoured is correct, and it's said that some up to 10 people have agreed to give evidence against Mr Armstrong, including the 5 named in the papers today, it suggests that USADA has gone far and wide to get together as many people as they can to give statements against Mr Armstrong. If you take his response at face value, he says, well, no one approached me in relation to giving any information about doping in relation to other investigations, so why wasn't I afforded the same rights that all other athletes, cyclists were in this process? So his argument is that it seems to him that he's being isolated and pursued because he is such a big and high-profile scalp.
I'm wondering how much this case rests on the testimony of other people, and also how much would rest on actual samples themselves from tests that were taken many years ago from Lance Armstrong.
The interesting thing in doping is that often technology in terms of the testing is, it's said, behind the times in terms of the those who want to defeat the system and performance enhance, and the scientists that are being used for that purpose are ahead of the times, and so that's why samples, including, for example, our athletes that have gone to the Olympics this time, have been told that their samples will be held for something like 6 or 7 years into the future. So, as you say, their samples from the past can be looked into. My suspicion is that this is a case that is, and I don't know until I see all of the material in the case, but my suspicion is that this is a case based on word of mouth rather than any samples testing positive.
I was thinking about the case of Marion Jones, who won a medal at the Olympics here in Sydney, of course, and from my memory of her case, she was convicted of doping, but it was mostly based on phone conversations that had been recorded, no sort of physical evidence, but, you know, self-implication, if you like. Is that what a case like this against Lance Armstrong could largely rely on, actual other people's testimony rather than the actual physical samples themselves?
Yeah, that's right, Kim. Certainly the case of Marion Jones, and she was said to be one of a number of high-profile athletes, including world record holder Tim Montgomery, who's a sprinter from the States, and possibly, I think, there was a Christy Gaines, who was also a high-profile runner in what's called the Balco prosecutions and doping scandal in the US, many of whom never tested positive. It was just testimony. In the Marion Jones case, she was found guilty because of admissions, so phone records were put to her, and in the phone conversation she said yes to people that she had doped, which was contrary to what she'd said to the grand jury over there, and effectively she was found guilty of contempt of court or perjury.
Well, I was just going to say the Lance Armstrong case is certainly one that has got a lot of attention and will be following for some time. Paul Horvath, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.
It's a pleasure, Kim.